All right. If someone can please tell me if we're up and ready and live to go, I would appreciate it. Hello there, Eric. How you doing, Thomas? Doug, good afternoon. You know what? Life is going decent. It's beautiful. Well, it's not that beautiful. It's a rainy day out, but life is going well. So I want to check if everything's good, up and running. Good. Thank you very much, Joel. I'm going to wait a while. Gunther's going to be in here. Jim, unfortunately, had to leave and do a family matter. So Jim may be sitting out in the parking lot somewhere, going to be joining us, and expecting Jeremy in here also. And then Gunther is going to be answering the questions on the side. Question for Uwe or Gunther, if you run this live stream. Ich bin der Uwe. Der Gunther ist der Jüngere. Gunther is a younger, good-looking guy. I could never pull off not cutting my hair during the entire pandemic. So, well, it would cover my ears, so probably I could run a little better, maybe. Give me a little more streamline. We have heard rumors of supposed add-ons. Can you, if you're allowed, talk a bit of what's coming? I'm going to have to ask about that. One of the add-ons, one moment. Let me go into my secret channel here. It's it's 2 o'clock. We're starting here pretty soon. So I'll get back to you on that. Well, I will. Okay, one of the things we have, and we have a lot of really cool things. Number one, welcome people. Maybe we should wait another 30 seconds so that we have most people. You know what? It is 2:01. If we're not pünktlich, if we're not there on time, too bad. Well, wait a minute. I've been a little late myself once in a while, so I do apologize for that. If you haven't been following the meta games, please do. People have been having a really good time. We're following and going through how the game set up and plays in the meta game. And we're doing this because we have a lot of fans who play the video game and then board gamers. And everybody is a little different in how they view games and things like that. So we thought this is a really cool way. Not only are we working on posting the physical rules, but also playing the meta game. And in the meta game, we've now developed our civilization, and we're set up our solar system with our planet, with our civilization markers, our population markers, so we know where they're working, where we're concentrating as civilization on. And now we're expanding into the first solar system next to us. And we decided, the people online decided to go for we had 3. System 1, we're receiving radio signals from the system that suggests it is inhabited. Number 2, the spectral microscopy analysis indicates the presence of rare and valuable resources. And the third, System 3, a decade ago, a normal star disappeared. There are no signs of a supernova or gravitational distortions caused by a black hole. The star is just gone. Now, you are a brand new star-faring empire. What are you going to do? Probably a good idea not to go where you hear other people. It would freak me out. Let me first get stabilized. System 3, stars disappearing. Ah, man, you know, I'm brand new. I want to go where there's stuff. So everybody, the majority chose to go number 2, to go for the rare resource, valuable, check it out. Now, just because there's good stuff doesn't mean things can happen. So watch today's mega game update. What's going to be happening? Let us know what you're going to, what you want to do. Some really exciting things, little twists, as you can see, which happen in the game. So now that everybody's here, I'm going to go back into my Discord channel. And what are we having planning on coming out? In Stellaris you are setting up and growing your empire as an era 1, era 2, as in your own area. You don't know what's out there. We are like Earth now, where we're exploring Mars. We're spreading out within our solar system. And for the first time, we're going out to other systems and to explore. So you're going to be playing in front of yourself. But the more actions and things you're doing that could give you contact, you are going to do a randomized, see if you're going to gain contact. And that percentage can go up over time, of course. So if you, not usually it is, I believe, Gunther, what is it? You need higher than a 4 on the 10-sider to make contact, or you need a 1, 2, or 3 to make contact. Of 4 or less, 1, 2, 3, or 4 out of 10-sider. So there's a 40% chance when you're taking certain actions that people are going to notice you and that you're going to be noticing them. And then you will take your solar system and your part of the galaxy that you've built up, and you're then going to move it to the center of the galaxy where other players who've made contact already are set up. At that time, you can choose where you're going to set up, who you're going to set up next to. You can even attach to other players' solar systems so you have direct contact right away, or you can try to stay away. Sometimes you have no choice if it's already very busy and you're one of the later empires coming in. So that's how it's played. You play it on any table. But what Gunther and the team have come up with is that we now are going to be offering a giant galaxy map. And what that galaxy map is going to offer is, like in the video game, is that you're going to have setups. And the setups are going to be in slightly different outline colors on the general map. That if you want to play in just a regular ring type formation, it's marked in there. But if you want to go into an elliptical orbit or elliptical galaxy or even a spiral galaxy, you're going to use the spiral and elliptical hexes, which limit the expansions in certain areas and also concentrate things maybe to the center of the galaxy more, different ideas like that. So it's going to be a beautiful map that is it needed for gameplay? No, not whatsoever. It's a beautiful, we're going to try to keep it for most tables. So we're going to try to keep it under 3 feet. Or 75 centimeters in width, trying to keep it underneath. I think Yarick, our director of art here at Academy Games, I think he's even trying to keep it to 32 inches, which is roughly in Zentimeter sind 32 mal 0,54, roughly around 82 centimeters in width. And then the length is going to be a little more. So that should fit comfortably on most gaming tables. So that's one of the things we're going to have coming out. Very excited. And it's going to be like our Mare Nostrum giant map, our popular one, and also our Vikings. It is a very thin. Our mats are thinner than normal. They're only 2 millimeters thick, but very, very heavy because we have a mesh in there. And we like those better than like the mouse pad thickness because they keep their shape very well. And when you unroll them, whoop, they're flat. So we go a little more for the higher quality. Doesn't mean your price is higher, but we go for the higher quality. We actually go to a company, not a mat company for gaming. We go to a company in Taiwan that makes industrial anti-static workbench mats for industry. We used to buy our mats when we had our steel manufacturing companies, the Irish Eichert company that we sold several years ago before we went into this, where we made, military tools and tools for the different industries and steel products. So that's one of the updates coming up. We've got some other real cool stuff. We have things going on with some of the major influencers. We already talked about the Templin Institute and all the cool storylines they're doing. So, Gunther, if just got a call from Columbus Crew Soccer. Oh, some good games coming. It's going to be a good season. All right. Gunther's on the line here also answering. And let me go through some of the questions here. I Ach, vielen Dank. Die Frage wurde von der Livestream geschrieben. Okay, gut. Danke, Thomas. Dann nochmal weiter. You're talking about a metagame like this is actually part of the game. Oh, yes. Yes. No. Well, the metagame is just something that we are going through what a game could flow and look like. And we're going through the different stages. So now that you've decided not to go after an inhabited type of world, but more after the resources, the next thing you're going to do, as you're going to see in the metagame, is you're going to do the expand phase, and you're going to be the explore phase, and you're going to be pulling a system tile, of the tiles that are available, and we're going to randomly pull one and see then what's happening. When you're there, things could happen immediately. Each new tile has an anomaly, a counter, where when you have the technology or even your customs to go and search and do this, then the anomaly will also have you draw a storyline card, and things can happen in different galaxies. And of course, your storylines that you've been developing can be affected by all this. Gunta saying, so I did talk about the Matt Gunta, tell them choose Galaxy Max. All right, it's the tradition. If you have a tradition as one of your traditions for your empire, that can also allow you to go after anomalies instead of going along the tech tree and having the technology to be able to explore and analyze these things. All right, next, Jeremy's also in there answering questions if you need anything, guys. Sorry for my bad German, by the way. Thomas, you had me going there for a while. Ken M, is it possible to choose not to ascend? For example, become Era 15 or something if you just really enjoy your setup. Nah, you as the natural part of an empire is to try to evolve and go towards ascension. You can't just hang in there forever. But remember, when you ascend, you're bringing a new origins card, that a way to start your next empire and civilization into being. And it brings new items into the game, new storylines, things that are there that the new empires that are growing and your new empire going forward are discovering. They're finding the remnants of your ancient empire. Gunta saying if we want to talk about, you're also going through crises. And if you do not ascend in a certain time period, you're going to hit a second crisis. And these galaxy crises that hit almost like every 4 era gameplays, those crises are not nice. You already saw the Time Master Dreadnought is one of the crises miniatures. And one of the early birds and one of the options that people can buy is also the Void Crises miniature. So I'm going to go through here and also see with some of the other crises. Gunta, do we want to let them know some of the other crises that are going on, or are we going to keep these the secret? Of course, we have the Stellar Devourer and the Time Master Dreadnought. And those two are already pretty badass things happening. Remember, depending on what the players and how they're going towards and what they're doing will magnetize different type of crises, as we call them, crisis bosses coming your way. Yeah, we want to keep the rest to surprise you, but they're coming, and we're going to be showing as we're going along. Jim said, if a game event causes you to lose a resource and you're out of tokens due to upkeep removing them from you, how do you resolve the deficit? Immediately dismantle a thing to cover it? Yeah, if you lose a resource or something like that and you do not have the resources to continue supporting your infrastructure, that's going to affect your infrastructure, of course. Good call. If you also, Jeremy, want me to let me know who is asking these. Jeremy, that's Freitag. Oh, okay. On Discord, you're a different name, Jeremy. It's throwing me off. Also, let me go with the next question here. What do the rules say if we run out of a certain type of ship? Are we no longer allowed to produce it? We give quite a few ships of the different types. We haven't really run into running out of ships. I'm going to ask Gunta what happens. Let's say a fluke that would happen. Gunta, what happens if you run out of ships? If you've built more, let's say, corvettes or cruisers than you have in your supply. I'll get back to you that then. Excuse me. Hey Gunther, ich habe mein Hörgerät nicht an. Was ist los? Gib mir alles auf Discord hier. Okay, schreib schneller. Okay, tschüss. I'm going to put on my headphones here. All right, next is Ken. Is it possible to choose not to? Oh, we went through that. David Bryan. Not sure if this shared, but how many variation options do you get starting a new sieve to customize? Trying to work out how many sieves can you make before you start seeing repeated. Oh, there are so many. Do me a favor, David. We did, I believe, in our update, our first meta game 1. Go check it out. We go in detail, everything you need to do, or the step-by-step, how you're building up, choosing what species, what your traits are, things like that, and then what type of government you're building, your civics, things like that. So it's step-by-step. There are hundreds and hundreds of variations you can do, because each type of trade and each type of choice you're making will influence how you're perceived and how you react and really can interface in the game. I'm looking here on the next one is, let me go back a little. Everybody's answering questions here online. Kayla is here. Also, I want to thank, or 2 days ago, I forgot to mention, Kayla has been online answering the comments for since we started, and does such an incredible job. So between Kayla and Jim and Jeremy, I want to thank them for really answering a lot of the comments. Also, for those of you who sent us direct messages, we've been keeping up on those. Thank you. Direct messages, if you have a really with ordering or anything like that, pop that stuff into the direct messages area, because that keeps track for us by the person. Whereas in comments, things can get lost pretty deep in. So that would be much appreciated. Gunta, if you or Jim want to keep putting any questions that we have into the Discord, I'd appreciate it. It's really good. It seems that the questions are being answered by Jeremy and Kristen. Oh, here it goes down. Yes, most systems are captured by space battles. The space battles are, and Gunta's going to be going through space battles in the next one or the next 2 live stream throughs. We've been working with the company to make the tabletop simulator much more up to date. We build it ourselves, like many of you have worked in tabletop simulator, but there are people who specialize that can just make it fine. So when you're pulling like an event card or technology card or anything like that, and it says pull these cards and place them, we're trying to automate that all. So if you do it, you decide to do it, boom, the cards are automatically drawn, shown for you then to click, so you don't have to search them, things like that. The Zach Corey, Will the game map be an included stretch goal or an add-on to be purchased separately? Oh no, that map, there's a big map that unfortunately will not be a stretch goal. It's going to be added as an add-on. We're not going to be unlocking it as stretch goal to make it available. At least we're announcing it. We're going to put it on because we have had quite a few people request this giant map. It's not a giant. It just organizes your play table for the different type of galaxies that you want to play in. And also, it just looks freaking cool because, it's a star field and that Nova type of background. So Yark is working on that right now, and we should have that as soon as he has that artwork and everything ready. We've gotten the quotes already for manufacturing, and it'll be. I think everybody will be very pleasantly surprised, and those who want to get it, they can add it on. Gunta and Jim, if you can please let me know if you see any questions that you have not answered. I would appreciate it. Are interactions between player civilizations available from the moment they meet? Do they need to research a special project like in the video game? Gunta, if you want to also add to this, but at any time, if you're connected with another civilization, I believe in most cases, you can do diplomatic actions already. And I'm going to check this with Gunta because there are certain type of racial traits or maybe certain things that have been triggered that may not allow this. So I want to make sure if there are any type of exemptions. But for example, and these are some very heavy duty game questions that the details of them are not always so set depending on what's happened in the game and based on how you build up your civilization. But if you, let's say, have a trade pact going on with another race or civilization, alien race or another alien empire, you can do the diplomacy, or if you're doing a market type of agreement where you're trading resources, you need these at the end of a round. If you both have these resources available, you will trade them, you'll flip them to their used side, and then whoever you're trading with will get a one-time use marker to be used in the coming round that they can then use for resource. Also, you can't just nilly-willy attack someone. You have to declare war. And you can't secretly during a phase plan to invade someone and attack if you're not at war. Because in real life, it takes a while for any nation to gear up. And usually, shit may be coming down the path. But it's an open game. You're talking with people. You're making deals person to person. It's a game. It's not like a video where you're kind of set and locked in, where you can also talk together, which is great. But in here, even, looking across the table and giving that, that little wink or something can have some ramifications. And the way we play, we'll give someone a wink who doesn't even know what the hell you're doing just to freak out the other players. So we will be announcing, Gunta says, the map details very, very soon. Do we know how much the mat will cost? Yeah, the mat is going to be, it's depending on the size, but we're expecting it to be somewhere around $60 US dollars, which is roughly around 48 euros, I believe. Is it possible to play negative cards on your allies? Well, of course, on your allies. Gunta, why can't you can screw over an ally, can't you? Let me know. Of course. I mean, that's life. I'm looking at, we work a lot doing military training games, what if games, situational, regional type of conflict games. And conflicts are not always military. In some talks I've given in different type of military installations and in universities, in war college universities, are How does Putin do half the stuff? He's very militarily aggressive as an adversary, but also then he does stuff that he knows, those what we call gray activation or activities. These are things that they know we go against our own goals, what we believe are ours, or what you should not touch, but they do it because they know it's gray enough that we most likely aren't going to respond, because it puts us in a situation about how far can it put us. Like the Chinese building islands in South China Sea. We're totally against it. But are we doing anything about it? We may be. But let me get away from Kari's coming and saying, listen, don't talk about military things, but that's, Kari, that's all public, nothing classified here. So can you, while you're making an alliance with someone and being good to, undermining them? Whereas going with the other thing, America, we were tapping Macula's phone, all our allies, top president, top people, we are tapping as Americans, their phones, listening into their conversations without them even knowing it. They're our allies. That could be seen as very aggressive by some people, or you're going, that's what foreign intelligence people do. The Russians do it. We do it. How far are you going to push these gray areas before your allies then turn on you? So yes, you can do stuff against your allies. How long is it really going to be to your benefit? Or is this just the first steps to really go after them? So that's it. Jeremy said, would a regular board gaming group benefit from owning multiple copies of the game, or does it make sense for just one player to own it? The nice thing is, if you are multiple people own the game and you're playing, it means, remember, the base game and why the 5 and 6 player expansion is so nice is because it isn't that you're ever going to play maybe with your group 5 or 6, but you may have new players. Let's say you have 4 players playing on and off pretty regularly together. And now your buddy says, hey, that sounds like real fun. Can I join? Yeah, luckily out of the 5th and 6th Empire expansion, come on in, start an Empire. We're only going to be 3 tonight, including you. It's great you're joining, or your regular group of 4 people, 2 can't make it. You want to keep playing. And you say, you know what, we want to keep going. Let's call John in or Kelly in. They want to play. So we get another 4-player game going. I'm 4th Empire. Felix is 3rd. Kelly and John will both be 1st Empire. And then they have all their Empire goods again where they can save it for future games. So if you have friends with more copies, you have so much more ability to get more friends playing and coming in having a fun hour-and-a-half, 2-hour game. Had a blast. That 2-hour session, someone wins that era. They win. They get their bonuses, the extra things they get for that era. Everybody else had a good time. Their civilizations expanded. And then these new players going, I had so much fun. Can I come back? Sure, next time you come back to your 2nd era. You're expanding. You're getting more abilities. Your technology is evolving. You are continuing your civilization story. So yes, having more people, having more games allows this to happen. Anything else, Jeremy or Gunta, that questions that we need to answer? There's also no reason why you can't paint ships in new colors to play with more players. Yes, we are going to be, we're working with artists, also with fans of Stellaris influences and all. And we are also talking with like Pavlos, who is incredible 3D miniature space, well known for his spaceships and all. And as we've said before, the spaceships, which we'll be revealing soon, and that's not a stretch goal. We're just, I don't think it's a stretch goal. Did I misspeak? Or are we going to bring out some of these cool new designs? I'm going to zip up here until I get an answer from Gunta. But the there's no reason why you can't paint the different miniatures into your own patterns and colors, camouflaging, whatever you want. Because I love painting my miniatures. And what's nice about this game, they're going to be pretty detailed, but they're not so many of them. You know, each side has, I believe, maybe 30 to 40 miniatures for their base core. Now, as some of you may have noticed in the stretch goals, we're beginning to, now that we've hit the higher levels, we're beginning to unlock more and more miniatures. And because of the way the metagame is going, and we've already determined what's happening because we randomized, pull, and certain things happened, based on what we're going to show tonight with the metagame being revealed, more miniatures are going to be put in the stretch goals to be unlocked in the next area, in the next unlocking phases. So these miniatures also are going to be, we've got some really cool ideas in miniatures. For example, with the Time Master Dreadnought, that miniature with that ball, it's not guaranteed yet, but what we'd like to do is that flaming energy ball in the center of the three-pronged Time Master Dreadnought, that's energy. We want to make that like a translucent, like energy ball, like a sun, miniature sun captured in there, that it uses for all kinds of nefarious things that we're not going to tell you about yet. So the miniatures are going to be pretty cool. So go ahead and paint them. That's also why it's nice to have, if friends have different sets, they can paint everything different colors. Gunta, with the if you could answer that with the with what's coming up in the upcoming metagame, if I can announce that also. If I understand it correctly, the base game includes 40 system tiles. Does a 5 and 6 player expansion add more system tiles, or do the players just fight for the 4 existing systems? Number one, we're going to tell with the new miniatures in the update coming up later today, so check it out. And then with the system tiles, I want to know what I can say. Okay, if you look at the box contents with the Frontier expansion, things like that, it's going to include 20 more tiles. Gunta, have we announced that nefarious race and the system tiles, or haven't we? I don't think so. No, we haven't. So, as I've said before, we have a lot of the top influencers and Stellaris vloggers and storytellers. Just so excited. We've been working with them for weeks now. They've been building up their stories, and even stories that they've developed in the past are coming in. And all these story paths are bringing in more components into the Frontier expansion because we need them for these storylines, and it does really add new races, new technologies, the event cards and action cards and things like that. And it says in the box content that includes 20 more tiles. I'm sorry, it's 16 more system tiles. So yes, it does expand. Next question. Will there be alternate rules for setting up the entire map tiles to start? The tiles aren't set. You're starting. Every player starts with one system tile in front of them. And as you're playing the game and exploring, you are connecting, because these are interlocking, connecting thick system tiles, 2.2 millimeter, really dense core system tiles that's lock into each other. You're expanding these, and you can only expand them through your light holes there. What do we call them in this game? Going to the expanding sides where you can link up, because not every side has. And if you look in our mega updates where we show, or even on the board setup, we can see if one side has a pure black side and the other has its hole there where it can connect. A black against hole is not a connection. It has to be connecting, so you can see it's complete. I'm waiting for a reply here from Gunta. So the question was, at the beginning. So you're building. So you may have 2 or 3 systems already built when you are joining the rest of the galaxy. And then the center galaxy is a 3-hex solid piece that people will connect to and to other empires. Nobody knows what your empire or the galaxy is, how it's going to form and shape. So everyone is going to be different. So it isn't like everything's set out like in a Settlers of Catan or something like that. It is, you're building your own unique galaxy, and then between eras, if you immediately play another era, you can decide to keep everything the way it is, or if you put it away and come back again, the next you have to keep your system the same, but the way, you know, the galaxy and everything, your universe is turning and moving between eras, you can then set up in new configurations. So you're not right next to this other empire in one era. In the next era, you may be further apart and maybe somebody else has moved in. That makes it a little more interesting between eras. And we did this on purpose just for the interaction and more fun gameplay where people want to be together, then they can try to be, or if you want to stay apart because that guy's just a meanie, you can be a little apart. The question we had before going to questions. Can you ever save resources from a previous turn? Answer. You can gain storage that lets you save resources that you do not use for the future round. So yes, it is again technologies where you can gain storage and then save for the future. And remember, through trade, you can also give excess that you have left at the end of the round that has not been used. You'll flip it. That resource, a temporary resource, is given to your ally. They have to do the same if they can, and they give you a resource back, a one-time temporary, and then at the end of the round, you flip everything to their active side again, and then the next round starts. If a game event causes you to lose a resource and you are out of tokens due to upkeep, removing them from you, do you resolve the deficit, immediately dismantle a thing to cover it? I think we covered that before. I think I went back here. Let me go back down further where, oh my goodness, so many questions. Okay, people have been, is a center of the galaxy visible from the start or discovered? It's just in the middle. Remember, the center of the galaxy is just sitting there in the middle, and we all are on our sides of the tables starting our empires, which has come up in previous questions. If you have a big empire or some more developed empires and you're a new one, it's nice not being part of it as you're learning the game as a new player in your first empire, going through and just getting the feel for it. So, and then some people may be xenophobic. I get the xenophile means you like other species, and xenophobic, you don't. So if you're xenophobic, you want to kind of stay away from everybody as long as you want, or as long as you can, not as you want. Sometimes you're forced due to that 40% chance of getting in contact. Gunta, okay, you're asking Gunta there. Gunta, when choosing what system to explore through the meta game, have you taken account that people have answered multiple times? So, for example, people voting for System 2 more than once. Joel, what do you think? Next question. That's a technique my dad said one time, which is, we went through, this is not a high-tech computer thing. If people want to cheat. I don't think we've put our anti-cheating software filters through yet, Joel. So, but we did find out that the System 2 seemed to have been the most, when we did the count, at the time we decide, because we're already working. We have to get this meta game and updates. It takes us a long time to get the artwork and everything done. So it may have changed between now and then, but we're telling you now, System 2 is the way to go. And I think you'll be very happy because it sounds easy, but all right, next. Boy, everybody's answering so well. Are the player screens large enough to say a 6-player game, and you can't sit around the galaxy exactly ring-wide, exactly ring-like, but rather like 2 rows? Meaning 3 people on one side of the table and 3 people on the other? So we've made everything. It's only, your screen is about 14 inches wide. And I'm doing that, I'm pulling off the top of my head because we do everything in millimeters here. So I apologize. But it is about this wide. And then the people who've watched Gunta doing the live stream on the Tabletop Simulator realize the tabletop, we're making it better and better because we've hired a firm now to make it look better. But we had them where you're going to have a nice card box with dividers with titles that keep everything nicely organized for you. So you know where everything is. You can see it easy. It's easy to see how many cards you have, the way the dividers are designed. So you have 2 boxes in front of you. You have your screen. Then you have in front of your screen, you have your diplomacy track. So everybody can know what type of diplomacy actions you have going on, or war actions, what have you. Can be mercantile actions, all kinds. And those of you who have looked at the pictures, you're taking your population markers from you and your opponent. They're different colors. And you're just marking on both of yours what deals you have going on with various different empires. So you can have deals going on with all different type of people. It's not like certain games where you're set, these are my friends and those are my enemies. It's like life, you know. We trade with Russia, we trade with Germany, England, China, everybody. Are we always best of friends? No. Are we making trade agreements, doing diplomatic actions that help each other, having our Olympics at each other's stages, working with others, with the people up in the space stations, international space stations? Yeah. You may be tight in one thing and very aggressive and going after systems together in others. How much balanced is a game of Era 1 player against Era 7? That's come up quite a few times, Andrea. And the Era 1 has to, when new player coming in, they're slower, they're learning the game, it takes them a little more time. They're not overwhelmed because they don't have that many choices and actions yet, as they haven't started their storylines, they haven't had all this stuff happening to them. They need to fulfill one objective at the beginning of a new round. At the beginning of every new era, and I call them rounds, but at the beginning of every new era, there are a number of objective cards turned. Of those, the Era 1 person only has to fulfill one of those objectives, whereas a Era 3 has to fulfill 3 of them to win that era. So that's what makes it so much fun. Of course, I, as a 3rd era, have so many more resources, so many more abilities to do stuff, but I've got to do 3 of these objectives. Now, Era 1 person may not be able to even do all those objectives because they don't have the ability, but there's always 1 or 2 objectives that they can do, and that's what they're going to concentrate on, because we want to get new players coming in and being able to do it. And even someone who's ascended and starting a new empire, they're starting new. Now, they may have, from their old empire, they may have some advantages because they're coming in with these advantages of having ascended, but again, they don't have what they had. But it is so much fun after you ascended, coming back and going, wow, I ascended with that, I've got these abilities, now I'm going to try something totally different with this different race, and go. So people have asked us, how do you win or lose game? And they've come up with some really, really neat analogies. Let's say you're into baseball, or like I am in the Bundesliga or Champions League. And Gunther says you do not get advantages when you ascend, but you get new customization options. I apologize, Gunther. In my mind, the more options I have, but you're right. You're not getting advantages over other players. You're just getting more options once you've ascended to start a new race. And you're getting these options due to the overflow and the ripple effects of your old empire. What was I talking about before help me out? I was talking about someone before my Discord came up. Gunther, also, what happens? Oh, the winning analogy. Gunther, please, what happens if someone runs out of resources or ships? If they have used up all their Corsair miniatures, can they build more, or is that a limitation for that empire? If you could please let me know. So the analogy is like a baseball, Bundesliga, or Champions League. Each era that you're playing with your friends is like a soccer match or a baseball game. There's a winner and there's a loser. You played your hour and a half, 2 hours. You had a blast. Dang, I got there. He got it. I was going for it. He got it. And I couldn't, at the end of the round, also get it. So, darn it, he won. That was a blast. Why we designed it then the way we do is a lot of people put all this energy. I love playing games. I'm developing my side, and all of a sudden it's over. And it's like, I want to keep going. Well, then you play on. And then the next era you play, there's a winner or loser. And you could play it once, had a great time. See you guys. Hey, if you ever want to play that again sometime, or let's play El Grande next. If you keep going, though, there's a winner each era, which is you're winning that game. And then at the end of the season, one of you ascends and you're the league champion. And you ascend, then people could go, oh, he ascended, he won. Great job, or dang it, he didn't get it. Or two players ascend in the same era. And then, they won, but I'm so close, I want to go new. You could end then, or let's keep on going. There's a new season coming up. You won the Champions League. You're Bayern München this year, or Liverpool this year. What's going to happen in the next era when all of a sudden, Bayern München loses Podolski or some of their great player, Müller, and they all retire, they're gone, and you have a brand new team. How will they do? Look at Liverpool this year, all the injuries. And, well, let's not get into the real football of the world. Sorry, Americans. But you know what? What's so cool in America? Soccer is just going crazy. Gunther answered with, what happens when you run out of your miniature chips? You gain more ships by researching to increase your ship capacity. Your mini number is your ship capacity from the PC game. A research card lets you take a mini from the game box and add it to your available supply. So when you are starting the game, you're not getting all of your Corsairs to just build nilly-willy. You need to build up your ability, and you're pulling out of the game box to get more and more. But once you have pulled all of your Corsairs out, you cannot build more. You're then going to have to concentrate on cruisers, battleships, and stuff like that. But realize that's a lot of maintenance and upkeep. And if you're just working on your ships, your upkeep in other areas, you're going to be left behind, because an empire or any type of country only has so much money. Well, we can't talk about that nowadays since we're all just making money for the COVID. But, we should have that in the game. But if you concentrate too much just building forces, you're not building the infrastructure to maintain those forces. Remember, because when you build a battleship, you're pulling resources out of your supply permanently until that battleship is destroyed and you no longer need your resources to keep that battleship going, and then you get those resources back. This game is very simple. As you gain resources, you're pulling them off the system tiles, putting them in your resource area, and you can see what that is, a capability, the foundation of your empire's abilities to do stuff. But as you're building items, and these resources are what you can use for doing your action plans in your phase boards. So as you're building stuff where you need this maintenance going on, they come out. If you build populations in a certain type of hostile climate planet that requires you to take out certain resources in order to colonize that, that's because continuously your home worlds have to supply them with the resources. So you just take them out, goes away, and you don't have to worry about that upkeep. There's no turn to turn, oh, what do I need to do with this and this? It's all automatic, clean, very streamlined. Any other questions? We've run now. It's getting pretty long, and we're going to have Gunther is going to be running the next live stream where he is going to be talking about a lot of things that we've discussed tonight, but he's going to be showing you step by step. The player interaction, the action cards, how they work, and also combat are going to all be coming up in the next few live stream sessions that Gunther is going to be, the designer, is going to be running on Tabletop Simulator. Go to our campaign page. Halfway down, we list it there with the times. It's always every day, 2 p.m. in the afternoon, 1400, and GMT time, it's -4. So we are, I believe, 4 hours behind London, 5 hours behind Berlin, and I think 6 and 7 hours towards Ukraine and Greece and countries like that. Asia, I believe it made it a little worse for us. I think we're 14 hours behind you. All right, I want to thank everybody for your time. I'm going to end the stream now. Gunther's taking over next time. Thank you for joining us. And you can also, the stream will allow for questions to be answered for a little while longer. Have a great day, and thanks for joining us. And even more so, thank you for your support.